It's the book of Psalms, chapter 2, verse 1. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? I'll start off by giving all praises, all honor, and all glory to Ko Loyum, La Yahweh, Hashem, Yahshua, Hashem, Chakodash Prakatham. Double honors to the apostles and to the elders of Great Millstone who do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives on the freedom to do so. Now more so than ever. Shalom to Akwath and Yakim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is an edifying video. Shalom to Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, which appear like the other nations, but whom subscribe to this truth. To you I say Shalom. This is the brother Yahweh Sap out of the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant, coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit, through the power of Yahweh Shem Shai. And basically, I had an article that I came across on Zero Hedge. Salakia, bear with me. A few different little things going on. So I wanted to bring this article out. Bear with me for a second. This is an article out of Zero Hedge. It says Jeff Bezos just invested in a startup trying to extend human life by reprogramming stem cells. And that's why I came out with that Psalms 2, verse 1. Why do the heathen rage and imagine a vain thing? Not only do they imagine a vain thing because, everybody can see America's going down, it's circling the drain. It's not completely over with right now, but, this is no bouncing back for this place. This place is dead morally, spiritually, financially, you know what I mean? And like one brother said, literally for them to bring them troops back the way that they did so abruptly, because the real war about to take place here. What do you think all that J. Helm shit was for? But anyhow, it made me think of another scripture, because like I said, in these people's mind, they would believe that they will rule forever. And this is the book of Psalms, chapter 49, verse 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. When you go into, like I just read a book about Hannibal, when you go into the continent of Africa, it's named after the general Africanus, which I learned. I didn't know that was just one man. That was a family. That Hannibal was whooping their ass too. And then it was one of the sons that actually used some of Hannibal's tactics back upon him that made him, Hannibal was like David. He was like the first guerrilla warfare fighter. He was, it was a very interesting book. Anyhow, a lot of the strategies that he was using, it was like guerrilla warfare. But nonetheless, not to digress. So that's why, it's not, far-fetched or crazy to brothers that got the spiritual ourselves that these men would invest or trying to do this. There's a lot of the, technologies going to them trying to live forever. You know what I mean? What do you think the whole AI, man and machine, cyborg, freaky cyborg society shit is all about? You know what I mean? These men are literally trying to receive the blessing on a carnal level. You know what I mean? It's deep when you really actually, break it down and meditate and really think about what's going on because, we're promised a spiritual blessing. They are trying to receive that blessing on a carnal side. But, yeah, I got another scripture because it tells you in, where is that? The book of Job, although these people are trying to set up this new world order, this system, this beast system, and now they're even coming out with research where they're trying to actually extend life, it tells you in the book of Job, chapter 5, verse 12, he disappointed the devices of the crafty so their hands cannot perform their enterprise. Now, I want to get that in the blue letter because the blue letter actually will, for the most part, break it down a little bit better. So when you go into that word devices, let's hear it.
Strong's H 4284. Machashava. Machashava.
And it says
Second
thought.
entry.
Thought.
Machasheveth.
Thought, device.
Machasheveth.
Thought, device, plan, purpose, invention. So, their plan, what are they plans is this new world order, as well as this, whatever Bezos has in mind, thinking that you got all that money, you should be able to vet, but it's gonna come to naught. Book of Job, chapter 14, verse 5 says, seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee, thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. Because we are all given a set amount of time on the planet. It tells you that the Most High, how's it worded? But it talks about in the book of Daniel about the Most High ruleth in the kingdoms of men and give it to whomever he will. You know what I mean? So it's the Most High that brings down and sets up kingdoms. You know what I mean? See, this is in Esau, Edom's plan. This is the Most High's plan. And if you keep that constant mindset, that won't deter you from falling out of this thing. Now, it's easier said than done. I catch a lot of hell. I try to be humble with it, but it'll be just, the truth of the matter is a brother just told me that recently. I had another brother, so it ain't like but so it's easier said than done because, I call a lawyer that I've never had the thought to say I'm gonna drop out. I just be like the elder Apostle Ramla made a video. I can't remember the title of it. He was like, "When you catching your hell, sometimes you be like, please, Lord, just get him off me. You ain't really looking at all the spiritual benefits because it's spiritual benefits to anything. But if you keep in mind that this is all the plan of Yahweh Shemel, like I was just recently thinking, I had to actually, part of my lot was to be homeless. But when we're all homeless, or a large majority, because it ain't gonna be all, because you're gonna have a lot of people that's gonna take this mandate. You can see the devil on him too. I ain't mean the devil around, but the brother Shapatya from Chicago is just doing a video. It's just like straight to the point. This devil said we are trying to be patient with you, but we're losing our patience. I said, damn, they about to come down with that Revelation 12 and 12. Anyhow, Salaki, it's beautiful times. You know what I mean? It's scary and terrifying times, but anything new is beautiful and scary at the same time because it's unknown. But the thing is, it's not really unknown to us because it's written in the scriptures. We have a kingdom. All this is already done happened. We just waiting for it to play it out. It's like how something was written like a movie script. It's already written out. Now it's just all to be played out on the planet. It says, seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee, thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. So even with this futile fucking effort that this devil trying to do, with investing in stem cells and what other fucking AI and whatever, and with the Blue Moon Project, I remember the brother our head hit me onto that. I didn't research it the way I should have. I might get into it now because I keep on coming across these books on the beast system and whatnot that I've already had. So maybe that's the spirit pushing me that way. But no matter what this devil got planned, his device, his days are determined. They tell you that in the book of, what's that, Luke, when it talks about how, the rich man literally said he's going to tear down and build bigger. The Most High said, foolish man, he said, thy soul is required. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know the days that, only the Most High do. I've known people that knew that they was about to die at the moment that they was about to die, but never the day that they was gonna die. Only person that knew that was Yahweh Shai Mashiach. I've seen movies where they play and try to put that into the movie, but the only being that's been in the flesh that actually knew the day of their death was Yahweh Shai Mashiach. So I'm going to read a little bit of this article, and then, Lord willing, is edifying. This is the book of Jeff, so I said the book of Jeff Bezos, huh? This fucking devil. It says, Jeff Bezos just invested in a startup trying to extend human life by pre-programming reprogramming stem cells. While Elon Musk farts around with Neuralink implanting chips into the brains of pigs, his antagonist Jeff Bezos had also made a major investment into trying to extend human life. Why is this doing this? Ain't that about a bitch? I just realized they did that. Okay, hold on. Verify with me for a second. I can't even be mad at the zero heads because they got to make their money. So this is it says Jeff. I found the article though. It says Jeff Bezos reportedly invests in Altos Labs, the latest startup trying to extend human life. Amazon ex CEO Jeff Bezos has been. And you notice all these fucking CEOs, them to step down ex CEO. The Bill Gates ex CEO. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do they know that you don't know? Did all these motherfuckers just come out the cut talk about we're going to go to another planet? We got SpaceX. You know, you got Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Richard Branson. They all just came up. But the world's richest man is also trying to extend humanity's lifespan. This is how much of these motherfuckers, the devil, because this ain't the world's richest man. Just lying. Lifespan here on Earth, according to a report in MIT's Technology Review. Bezos, who is worth an estimated $200 billion, is one of several investors in Altos Labs, a Silicon Valley startup working on technology to rejuvenate cells and potentially prolong life. The Technology Review reported the startup also counts Yuri Milner, an Israeli-Russian tech. Yuri Milner is Yuri Milner the dude that used to supposed to have been able to be in the metal spoons? I'm about to look this up afterward. The startup also counts Yuri Miller, an Israeli-Russian tech billionaire and founder of the 3 million breakthrough prizes, as a backer. Altos Labs is working on what's called reprogramming technology, a method of reverting adult specialized cells into stem cells, which have the potential to turn into any kind of cell. And that's what a lot of that stem cell research goes into. You know what I mean? And that's why they was taking like the unborn fetuses and basically doing whatever they was doing to them to get the stem cells. You know, it was basically like sacrifices to Molech, but it was also I can't think of the word, but that's what that stem cell research is going into. I remember they did a episode of Family Guy where Peter Griffin supposed to ate too many hamburgers or something like that. He ate something that fucked him up, and he ended up getting having a stroke or something. And then he went to a stem cell research place, and then came back out, and he was all healed. And he made the comment like, "Why aren't we invested in this?" You know what I mean? Just showing you the devil's mind. Because that was one of those. That probably was fucking Seth MacFarlane own personal thought. Bear with me for a second. Slovakia. Come to find out it wasn't the same person. It was a Yuri's son, but he was Israeli. And back in the day, I remember growing up, he was a guy that supposedly he was like Magneto. He was able to supposedly. What I always knew was because I've always believed in spiritual power. Ain't that funny? And then the Lord brought me into the truth. Like anyhow, he was the guy. He could I forgot what it's called, but he could telekinetically bend metal. So he would come on certain shows like Johnny Carson, shit like that, and he would bend metal spoons and forks and shit like that. And then, but he wasn't able just to do that. Like he was clairvoyant and all kind of shit. Like he was wealthy. You know what I mean? Because he would basically tell like oil companies and whatnot, like they'll ask him where to drill at for oil, and he'll tell them, and he was lightweight, like almost. He was very, very, very accurate. He made a lot of money off of just telling oil companies where to drill. But Salakia for that information. That's not it. Where am I at? That's not it either. It's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 28. Because at the end of the day, you know, it's not surprising that this devil has the technology or experiment like that. You got to remember, you got enough money, they could actually give you your child. What do you think the children of like those entertainers and like Kanye West and all that, like that bitch womb was fucked up. She got like designer babies. You know what I mean? They got the technology. If you want your baby to have a physique like Arnold Schwarzenegger, they can because they discovered the gene that actually builds muscle. They dubbed it the Schwarzenegger gene. Well, that's a brother that in our camp. He always talking about Schwarzenegger is a J. I think he said the elder said it too. Yeah, he'd say just he confused. But point being, yeah, they dubbed the gene that builds or they actually has to do with muscle, the Schwarzenegger gene. Anyhow, then so they could change your eye color, all that. So this is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 28, verse 3. Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee, because it tells you in the scriptures that they have basically, roughly paraphrased, they have done a diligent search. They searched out the thing, you know what I mean? Because the Most High Yahweh Shem Yahshua put that spirit on them too, you know what I mean? When you take time to think about it, for the short time they've been in rulership, they have found out a lot of and figured out a lot of things, you know what I mean? I was I think I forgot what brother was speaking on it, but like I'm familiar with welding to a certain extent, and bonding and whatnot. And they was like, due to the wars, they actually figured out a way. A lot of the stuff they figure out is by accident, though. You know what I mean? Like with the Wright brothers. You know how many attempts they did before they actually took flight to figure out lift? You know what I mean? But that was all the will of Yahweh Shah, because them motherfuckers literally all the times they did crashed in the plane, they never died of that, you know what I mean? Until they figured out how basically the concept of lift is. The air is the air goes over the way the wing is made, the air goes over it and then goes up under it, the wing, to lift it off the ground. Uh I'm gonna keep on reading. Verse 4: With thy wisdom and with thy understanding, thou hast gotten the riches and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. And that's why this devil, at one point in time, America was considered the most wealthiest country on the planet. It's no longer that. I was just listening to one of the elders in Connecticut. I think it was Tazadakia, and I don't know, can't recall the other brother, but it was going into. That's why the heyday of Esau society here in America was the 50s, after you know the World War. Because they basically had, what was that, World War II? They basically had destroyed Germany's infrastructure. Then they went over there and they rebuilt it. They did, I mean, you had manufacturing. That was when America was great. And he made mention of Happy Days. And when you go into the time period of that Happy Days was during the 50s. The show was actually written and done in like the 70s, but that shows was like based on the 50s. Uh by thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thy heart is lifted up because of thy riches. And this devil is proud. That's one of the characteristics of this devil, is pride. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you're a proud devil. Like I said, they'll make it and paint the picture that they figured out and found this land and yada yada yada. When at one point, they barely made it here. Was barely able to survive. And it took Gad to help them sustain themselves. And then what did they do? They took the land from Gad. You know what I mean? It's a term concept called manifest destiny, because they said it was their destiny to do it, which to extent they right about that. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, because thou hast set thine heart as the heart of Yahweh. That's the point was, thou are wiser than Daniel. But even with all, like I said, with all they trying to do as far as extending, life and AI and this beast system that they setting up, like the book of Job said, he has appointed to them the bounds that they cannot pass. You get a certain amount of time to rule. You know what I mean? And we as Israelites are up next to rule. Fuck China, fuck Russia, these other Edomites, and whoever has. That's why it says in Psalms 2:1, the heathen rage and imagine a vain thing. Because at the end of the day, those thoughts are vain. You know what I mean? Like it tells you that we're gonna have a kingdom. Salakia. That's not what I wanted. This is the book of Daniel chapter 2, verse 44. And in the days of these kings shall the power of heaven set up a kingdom that, because this is going into the image of that of those different kingdoms, of the statue, when you had the kingdoms of what was that, Babylon, what was that, Medio Persia, Greece, and then Rome. This is the book of Daniel chapter 2, verse 44. And in the days of these kings shall the power of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. And that's the point, At the end of the day, the kingdom of heaven is going to be an everlasting rulership that, when, Yasharala shall rule forever, starting with Yahushua Hamashiach, then King David, and then, those 144,000. I got another scripture. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 14. I saw in the night vision, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. Verse 14, and there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. I'm going to end it on this book of Isaiah. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 2. I'm going to start at verse 1. The word that Isaiah the son of Amos saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. Verse 2, and it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, meaning them governments. It'll be the top government, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. Verse 3, and many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua from Jerusalem. So out of Zion should go out the law, because all the other nations will be under subjection to the law. Verse 4, and he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. So how is it that them red devils that's calling themselves Israelis, how are they the people if it tells you that it'll be no more war if they back in the land? Because those are not the people. Prophecies actually, that's one thing, that amazes Esau. The prophecies haven't failed. They know prophecies have passed. I had a book when I was locked up that's showing you that they actually took account and numbered all the prophecies that actually came to pass. That's how they know that the Yahushua Mashiach is on his way back. This devil is just a fucking devil. But point being, that's showing you that it's going to be Yasharala or Israel over all the other nations. They're going to have a kingdom, you know what I mean? And like I said, again, Esau Edom is losing his. And we all witness to that. Call Haloyim, La Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshua. So if you're so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Single, Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshua. If you have spiritual eyes and you can see what's going on. I was just dealing with somebody I know in the world, this goofy motherfucker. I mean, not to digress and tell if I've heard of it, but, I'm telling them the truth, and they sit up there talking about they know the truth, and they calling me I'm a king and all this other shit. I don't need you to call me no king. Call me a priest, then. How about that? The thing is this: I don't need no dumbass person around. You making dumb decisions, and shit already hard. You making dumbass decisions. You know what I mean? Like what? Like no, fuck that. Like you know what I mean? Like sympathy out the window though. Like for real. Like because sometimes people don't have because they don't want. You know what I mean? Like you ain't even trying to do fucking nothing. Fuck is you sitting up there thinking about some carnal shit for it and you ain't got nowhere to stay. Calling this Edomite looking person, that's my G-Mon. Bitch, that ain't your G-Mon. I ain't know, you know what I mean? Like, the fuck is you talking about? So, like, say, like, I just thought about that. Like, I wash my hands in the situation. Like, I'm cool. Like, say, I got all kind of shit going on, and you sit up here. And like I said, I feel sympathy for the person to a certain extent, but at the same time, it's coming to a time where you, like, sympathy gonna get you fucked up. If you ain't a bad, the lost, because the Most High ain't gonna have sympathy for everything. You gotta read the scriptures. The Most High told, the Israelites to kill everything in the land. Where was the sympathy? So with that, I'm gonna end the lesson. Lord willing, it was edifying. I want to give all praises because we coming into a time like I said. This devil literally, like I watched the video. He was like, "Yeah, we are patient as well." And then his eyes looked all black and creepy and shit. He looked like the demon, just like, "Yes, now we gonna go eat a baby after this shit." So like you think people think this shit a game. See, I already kind of Lord kind of lightweight. Like I ain't really worried about certain things because I already know certain. Well, as a man speaking, I see certain things. Now the Lord can do it out whatever way He want. You know what I mean? Again, He coming gradually. You know what I mean? The mandate He did literally was mandate that was already out there. But I seen an article. I was going to do a video on it. You had companies that said that basically they might not fire certain people that violate and won't get the vaccine. So this devil about to have trouble with this. So he gonna have to come down Revelations 12 and 12. I think I saved the article. If I did, I will do a video on it. But with that, I'm going to end the lesson. Lord willing, it was edifying. I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to call lawyer. La Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushua Ba'Hashem Rachak Kudash Barakatham. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing his truth with faith and sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so. Now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwat and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is an edifying video. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but whom subscribe to the truth. To you I say shalom. Until next time, I'm able to come with another lesson. Lord willingly, shalom, shalom. Mawatha lababor, shalom.